How you doing, folks? Well, kind of following on from my last video where I was sort of teaching myself how to weld. Now I suppose the next step is to actually put that newfound skill into practice. For those of you who watched my progress, you will have seen me cutting a section out of the old right-hand wing from my MGB and re-welding it in at the top. Okay, so a little bit of a rough job it will be, I have to admit, but it taught me a few valuable skills on welding and helped me set my welding plant up correctly and show me that yes, you can use a gasless MIG welder for welding sheet metal on cars. Okay, if I can do it and I'm not skilled, then skilled people should be well able to do it. Okay, I know gas is better, but this is what I have and this is what I'm using. Okay, I'm not going to invest a huge amount of money just to make my life a little bit easier, you know. I mean, to set up with the gas is going to cost me about 250 quid. So that's 250 quid's worth of parts that could go into the MG, and I might do it in the future, but right now, no, not at this moment in time. So let's have a look and see how the new wing that I have for the MG is looking. Yes, folks, that's right. The purple wing is not being used again. Okay, that is that's gone beyond. I mean, I could fix it if I had to, but I was given another wing with the car. Okay, so this is the other wing. Now you can see it's obviously gone down the bottom as well, but it's a hell of a lot better than the one I took off. So what I'm going to do is I'm only going to replace what I need to replace. So what I'm thinking I'll do is I'll cut along there, and I'll replace this whole section down here. Okay, that's the first part. The second part is down around there, which is going to be a little bit trickier. And then these are just rivets for. There must have been a piece of trim along there on the car that this came off, but my car certainly doesn't have that. What I did do off camera was I brushed the inside of the wing on the rusty section there with Built Amber Hydrate 80. I found it great stuff, so you can kind of see here the sort of the end result and the way the rust turns black. Okay, so I've cut a lump of metal out of the old wing to make a repair patch, just a decent long strip. So that should do nicely for repairing along here, and what we need to do next is we need to actually measure up where the fold is going to go, because obviously I'm going to have to bend it before I cut out the old piece, because I essentially want to make the new piece correct and ready to go in before I go any further. I'm literally using a piece of cardboard just to make up a mock-up of the profile essentially, and what I'll do is I'll then transfer that onto the piece of metal so we know where we're folding. So I'll show you what I mean now. So you can see here this piece of cardboard is it's just a representation of the shape of the profile at its thickest part here. So that's essentially, that line there is where we're going to be putting our fold. Now we'll worry about the other folds afterwards, but let's just get this one done first of all. So what I need to do now is I need to measure that, and I need to make a mark along the piece of metal, and we're going to fold it along there. So we have is 18.95. So why don't we just call it 19 for the sake of it? So I'll adjust my vernier to 19, and I'll do that unforgivable thing of using the jaws of the vernier to scribe the line. So if you look along here, you'll see that I actually took a little bit of time just to make sure that I have a nice clean edge to make my scribe line along. So there's no point on using a rough edge as a datum, because then you're just going to end up with a rough line. I'm only going to make a light line with the vernier. I don't actually want to destroy it. And now what I'll do is I'll go over that with the scriber. I can see it, it's not very visible, but it's there all the same. So what I'm going to do now is, as I said, is I'll go over that with the scriber, and I will then that's the line we need to fold along. Not sure if you can see the line there, but it's there anyway nonetheless. So next thing to do is to try and fold along that. Now all I'm going to do is use a hammer and a bench vise. I mean, I don't actually have anything else that I can particularly use for the job. So yeah, that's what we'll try and do anyway. See how we get on. Okay, so I'm literally just going to start by gradually putting a fold in it, and then as I go along, I'll increase it. So I have it the line just above the line in the vise. So no, I don't have a panel beating hammer, before anybody asks. I probably should get one, but I don't have one for the moment. So this is what I'm doing. By the way, folks, I'm aware my garage is upside down. It's just too small for me at the moment. I've kind of outgrown it already. So what we'll be doing is we'll be moving house at some stage or another, and the plan is to build a workshop, or preferably buy a house that actually has a workshop in it. Now don't worry too much about how rough the bend is at the moment. I'll straighten it out afterwards. So as I said, bodywork is a great exercise in patience. If you don't have patience, you're not going to get a good result. And as I have to be honest with you, I don't always have great patience. So sometimes actually doing something outside of your comfort zone is a great way of developing attributes in yourself that you actually want, like developing patience. Alright, that's a pretty decent basic profile there now. So as I said there, you literally just need to have patience. You just you go along it bit by bit and just kind of work the fold into it. Don't just try and bend it all over in one go, because you'll just kink it. So what happens as well also when you bend a piece of metal like this is it'll also stretch too. So don't be surprised if you know, a piece of metal that you measured out beforehand, if you're trying to be very accurate, if a piece of metal that you measured out beforehand all of a sudden doesn't fit, then the reason being is probably because of the fact that it's stretched. So anyway, that's another issue. So right, okay, so next thing we need to do is there's another small return lip on that as well, which also needs to be put into it, so we're going to do that. On the subject of patience, incidentally, being a YouTube content creator is also a great exercise in patience. So any of you who ever had aspirations of making YouTube videos, don't be surprised if it takes a few years for your channel to take off. It actually does take time. So I'm kind of nearly 2 years into it and just over 2,000 subscribers, which is nice actually. I'm enjoying it. Anyway, now I'm just getting sidetracked. So let's offer this up and see how it's looking. So you can see there now just that piece sitting down. I mean, well, once it's welded into place, it's going to need a little bit more adjusting anyway. But for the moment, that's not bad. So what we can do is I'll actually grind off that little rivet that's sticking through there, simply because of the fact that it's getting in the way, and I'll try and flatten this out, because what I can use this as the guide for the profile. That's why I haven't cut out the old piece before I weld in the new piece, because obviously you need this to create the new piece. Okay, so putting the return lip on the bottom is going to take a slightly different approach, and the reason being, you can see here, is essentially that the first fold we've put in it is slightly in the way. Now, in theory, I probably should have put the return lip on first and then put the other one in, but the first one I put in was kind of the more critical one, if you know what I mean. It's a pickle fork for separating ball joints. And all it's doing is denting things. That's not going to work. I'm fully aware that if I had a sheet metal folder, I would have had this done in 5 minutes, but I don't have one, so as I said, I have to work with what I have. So anyway, look, that's the piece of profile that is going to fix the bottom of the wing. hopefully. And hopefully it'll go in and not look completely pants when I have it done. But at least if it does, it's in a part of the car that's not going to be very seen unless you're kind of crouching down and looking underneath the bottom of the wings. So let's see how it offers up. So that's obviously where it's going to go, and this, you know what, I think it should do the trick. I might just try it. There's a couple of little places where the fold is not exactly perfect, and that's the kind of thing that you will see. So I might just go at it with a hammer and just try and tidy them up a little bit more. And then what we're going to do is we're going to run a scriber along the top of that, and we're going to make a cut in the panel, and we're going to line this up, stick a magnet on the back of it, and I'm going to butt weld it. Wish me luck, folks. All right, the point of no return. So, I suppose a couple of vice grips there. Get that into place, line it all up, tack it, and hope for the best. It doesn't look too bad though, in fairness. I think it'll be all right. Right, let's fire up the welding plant. Okay, so I've got 3 tacks in it now. So now really it's a case of just leveling it all up, making sure that it's flush, it's properly butted up together, and then just tacking it everywhere that it is properly level, and then making a continuous seam. Ow, 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 ow. I'm strongly considering getting a jumper. Alright, that should be a bit better. A piece of feckin' molten metal got down inside my glove there. That's so that wasn't much fun. Yeah, let's try get a bit of space here. We're making progress. That creaking is getting really annoying. Alright. Not far off the mark there now, I think. I'm not bothering doing it right there because that's going to have to be repaired anyway. So I'll be kind of bringing another piece up from that point. But for the moment, well, it's certainly not going to fall off anyway, that's for sure. So I want to get the flat disc on it. Knock the top off and we have a look. I'll just show you what we've got here so far. Okay, so I'm fairly happy with how that shaped up, to be honest with you. I'm not going to try and fill it or paint it or anything like that yet, because until it's actually on the car, I'm going to have to be able to manipulate it and try and get it into position, drill holes and all that sort of stuff. So what I'll do is I'll coat the back of it, and I'll give it a coat of etch primer, and then I'll leave it at that. And then what I can do is when it's actually on the car, then I can kind of go at it again, and when the rest of the car is being painted, then that can be painted as well, if you know what I mean. So you know, the whole car is going to have to be rubbed back, and you know, there's always going to be other little bits and pieces of rust that we find along the way. So yeah, I mean, as I said, a coat of etch primer will keep the rust at bay anyway for the moment. I don't have any etch primer yet, so I'm gonna have to buy some of that at some stage. So for the moment, it's going to be in my dry garage, so it's going to stay dry. You know, I mean, it's not going to rust in here. So yeah, let's have a look and see how it's shaped out. So that just needs to be folded back around. You can see the weld is obviously there, but it's not proud. So that'll be in behind the kind of the little. It'll get a small skim of filler just to kind of even it all out, and then I'm just leaving that there for the moment. But I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to go about repairing this bit here now, to be honest with you. This is going to be a little bit more tricky because it's there's a curve and a bend at the same time. So a little bit of sheet metal fabrication is going to be needed here as well. So I have to have a bit of a think. Okay, there's no point in me trying to deal with the complexities of a composite bend here. So what I'm going to try and do is make it out of two pieces. So I'll show you what I mean. So just looking at the panel here, we've got the top section here, okay, which obviously that needs to be repaired right the way up to about, let's say, here, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut there and cut along there, and I'm going to actually make a strip that's that width and bring that strip right the way around to that point there, and then I'm going to tack it onto there. I'm going to tack it onto there. Now that's one piece, so that's the return piece there. Then I'm going to make a piece along the top, and it's literally just going to be essentially a triangle piece that just goes from there up to there, and then it'll be welded along to the strip that I've made right the way around, and then we'll be able to weld it along the corner, dress it all up, bish bash bosh, thanks very much, good luck to you. At least that's the theory anyway. Okay, so it's looking a bit rough now, but I think by the time I'm finished it'll come good. It should look okay. So it's just really a case of, I know that's oversized there, but what I'll do is once I've got it tacked in place along here, I'll run the grinder around there and take it down to the correct shape, and then we can kind of go from there. Then once I have it at the correct shape, then I'll weld it onto the piece behind. So you can see that there now as well. So it's literally just tacked up there, and yeah, should do the job. We'll have a go and see. I think there might be a bit of rust in behind here that I didn't address properly, because I'm blowing holes in this metal very quickly. I know it was pitted a little bit, but I thought it would have been alright. It's a bit of a shame now. Look, I'll address that in a minute. I might just get some metal in behind it or something just to absorb the heat. Okay, I was able to do a bit of a puddle weld there just to fill in one of the holes I made, so that should be it should be okay. It's not perfect, but it's better than it was. Alright, so now next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the grinder down to that, and I'm going to bring that around and get the contour of the panel back, and then I'm going to weld along there, grind it back again, and that should be pretty much good enough. Alright, so there we go. So once I have that all dressed up now, see, I haven't welded along there yet, so there's no point on dressing that completely flush yet. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld right the way along there, and that'll basically tie this strip here into this bit here. Then I'm going to put a slight radius on it just so that it actually looks like it was folded and not welded in. And obviously I'm going to cut that bit off there. It's just I've got a flat disc in the grinder now, not a cutting disc, so no point in changing just for one thing. Say what you want, folks, but that's solid metal, and I'm really happy with how it came out. I know it was a first attempt, but you know what? It's at the bottom of the wing, and it's not going to be the most visible part of the car. So I said, well, if I'm going to start somewhere, this is a good place to start. So yeah, I mean, what I'll do is I'll dress it up a little bit more, and I will give it a lick of paint, and yeah, it should be 100% then at that stage, and we can fit it to the car. So I'm going to leave it there. There's only a tiny little bit left to be done in one small area, so I'm not going to bore you with that. It's just down the bottom of the headlight bowl, so I'll address that off camera. So yeah, we'll be dipping in and out of other jobs to be done on the car as well, such as the likes of the engine has to be put back together, and obviously I have to clean everything, and I want to put some underbody protection in the inner arches and all that sort of stuff as well. So lots to be done, and this is all still just the front of the car. I haven't looked at the rest of the car, so I do know that there's a big rust hole in the boot floor, so that's going to definitely need a bit more intervention. But you know, look, after seeing how I got on with that, I'm cautiously optimistic that I can tackle that one on my own. So we'll leave it there. So thanks very much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I shall chat to you in a future video. Talk to you soon.